Welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. My name is Molly McGrath, and if you are a first-time listener, welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. As always, you can check us out at www.hiringandempowering.com. Today, we are speaking about the power of gratitude. And I'm very excited about today's guest that we have. We have Tina Torres. Hi, Tina. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate you. And hello to all of your listeners.
Oh, great. We're going to have lots of fun today. So
that is my middle name.
I know it is. Tina and I had met from a mutual colleague, friend, woman-owned business entrepreneur. And I spoke with Tina, I guess last week, and She invited me to her radio show, which I was on last Friday, which was so much fun. What's the name of your radio show again?
It's the Angel and Tina Morning Show.
Great. And how can people find you?
So right now they can find us on live every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. But we just got picked up, so we are getting syndicated. So we're going to be on 7 different channels, including Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, Roku.
Oh, wow. How exciting.
Yeah, so we're getting big time now.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. And you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you started the morning show just as something fun during the beginning of
the
pandemic,
We
right?
did. Angel and I we're both speakers and coaches. And when this pandemic hit, we both, I called her up. I was actually in the Tampa airport and heading to San Diego for a photo shoot. And I called her up and I said, oh my God, I had 11 events cancel on me. And she was like, I know, mine are canceling left and right. I said, we got to do something. And she was like, what are we going to do? I said, let's I don't know, let's do a virtual event. And she was like, okay. And I was like, and she was like, what should we call it? And so we ended up calling it the Connect Virtual Summit. And we started our first one 10 days after that day. And we had over 1,800 people come to our virtual summit. We were one of the first responders out of the pandemic to get our platform out there. And since then, we have done 4 Connect virtual summits. We have our 5th one on June 23rd. After this air, before this airs, obviously, but we have one a month. We host one every single month. We have 12 speakers that come on, and we have about 1,000 attendees. And so out of the first one, we had so much energy. It was a 2-day event, that first one was, and we had 28 speakers. But we had so much energy and such good connection between her and I. People were like, oh, you guys should do a morning talk show. You guys should do something like that. And we were like, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do a morning talk show. So we went live on Facebook and everybody was like, yes, do a morning talk show. It can be called the Angel and Tina Morning Talk Show. And it can be like Ryan and Kelly. And we were like, okay. And then so we went live that next Monday. And we're in month 3 now. We just filmed our 54th episode this morning, and we've had some fabulous guests on our morning show, including you, but Les Brown, Doug Fireball, Taylor Thompson. Some bigwigs, Todd Falcone, Danelle Delgado, all of these big names. And so we got picked up, and now we are on 7 different channels, and we're going to be syndicated.
Oh, wow. It was so much fun. It was a fantastic show. After I attended last, and I had the privilege of being on your show as a guest last week. I'm like, you cannot stop doing this. It's so much fun. It's fantastic.
It is. So we are going to continue it. It's going to go to 11 o'clock a.m. on Eastern, starting July 1st, because it's a little early for Angel. I'm of course in the Eastern Standard Time, and she is in Colorado. So we're going to 11 a.m. Eastern, but we are going to continue it right now.
Great.
And so we just want to bring a bright start to your day every single day. And, we wanted it just to bring positivity to people, to highlight entrepreneurs who are out there looking for a stage and looking for a platform to put themselves on. And we were able to do that with the Connect Summit, and then as well with the Angel and Tina Morning Talk Show. And we wanted it to be fun. Her and I are both very fun, energetic, outgoing people. And that's what you get when you are watching us. You get a lot of fun, and the conversations can go from one end to the other. But we just kind of let it flow, and we have 2 guests on every single time, and they're able to showcase their business and who they are and give a CTA at the end.
Yeah. So, this is your podcast, but I think we would do our listeners a massive disservice if we did not tell them about your co-host, Angel. Tell us a little bit about her.
So Angel Tessie and I met in San Diego last year in September, I believe. And her and I just clicked instantly. She has a very fun, outgoing attitude. And I can pick up people's energy very easily, and she's very authentic. And her and I hung out at another event in Las Vegas in December, and I decided to work with her. She's a media and PR specialist, and decided to work with her, and I just became really, really good friends. I've referred a couple people to her. She's referred a couple people to me. And then when we started the Connect Summit, it's just been, we talk every single day. She has gotten me on 176 channels with her media and PR releases that she does. She helped me get my gratitude journal to the #1 bestseller list on Amazon in 3 categories the day that everybody went in quarantine on March 17th, 2020.
Wow. And yeah. I mean, no mistake, you've been featured on 176 channels, Amazon #1 bestseller, featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. I mean,
right?
They're not any little Slack channels there.
Right. Yeah, no, these are the big wigs. And, when I see that, and it's still, even if you're a big, huge coach, I think it's still very humbling to see yourself on these channels. You're like, oh my gosh, Fox picked me up. Oh my gosh, CBS. Oh my gosh, and you start seeing all these, channels that pick you up and that are doing articles on you and doing press releases on you and doing media on you and doing little segments on their news on you and what you have done. And, so then they're reaching out to me about my gratitude journal. But it's very, very humbling, but it's still exciting every time I do it.
Well, you inspired me so much after one phone call. And then I think we spoke last Thursday. By Friday, I was on your radio show, and I said to the World Wide Web, Angel, I'm hiring you because if Sal, our good buddy Sal, is having the results. I think Sal launched her first press release last week and was already picked up.
CBS picked her up this week.
Yes.
I mean, the power of a press release, and you don't understand that until you start getting involved in it, and Angel has taught me so much. I owe the world to her, but she definitely can get you out there. So if you want to get in touch with Angel, you can go to makeyourbigimpact.com and get in touch with her that way. Her name is Angel Tessie. And you can also watch us on the Angel and Tina Morning Show, of course.
Absolutely. And I'm so excited. I'm having my strategy call with her on Friday. So I guess tomorrow. And she really inspired me because I already have an Amazon #1 bestseller, just celebrated this week, the 9-year anniversary of that book. And
I remember you telling me that we should relaunch it.
Well, after speaking with Angel, she's like, well, what else do you have in the hopper? And I tell her, and within a 15-minute conversation, I realized that I'm going to I have my 4th book half written, so she's going to help me launch that and get on #1 again.
That is awesome. Yep, I'm actually writing my 2nd book now. It's called Beyond Gratitude: Creating the Connection for a Lifetime.
And that, well, many of our listeners here are absolutely heart-centered attorneys. They absolutely lead with authenticity and connection. And I refuse to work or hang out or play or talk with anyone that does not have that as a core essence front and center. So
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about Tina because I really, our listeners will be excited to hear because they're always talking about client retention. And you are a client retention expert, and you've been recognized as a top performing sales associate awarded #1 in your region, top income producer, and using your proven system for building strong customer relationships. And I know you have your connection to client blueprint. And I think I'd love to have you back to talk about that process. But today we're going to be talking about, like you said, #1 best-selling author on the day of a global pandemic, The Gratitude Journal.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the Gratitude Journal and your process of, just birthing that book.
It wasn't a good process. It's a happy ending now. But so, a little bit about myself. 13 years ago, I started my company and I became the gratitude specialist. And about 18 months ago, my whole life came crashing down. I finalized my divorce after being married for 20 years in a very toxic, abusive relationship. I became an empty nester when my youngest of 3 boys decided to join the United States Army. And I lost a 6-figure job that I just got 8 years prior when I left my husband. And then I moved. I moved from Atlanta to North Carolina where I knew no one. So I fell into a very deep, deep depression. And I felt like I didn't have anything left. And I felt like I didn't have anything going for me. I felt alone and hurt and betrayed and like no one needed me anymore. I wasn't a wife any longer. I wasn't a mom any longer, even though I was in my head, I wasn't a wife. I didn't have income coming in. And, so I felt like everything was taken from me. So me being the Christian person that I am and already knowing the power of gratitude, I got a journal out and I got my Bible and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And sometimes I prayed the wrong prayer. But most of the time I had a struggle to get myself out of bed and forced myself to write 3 new things that I was grateful for every single day. And I did that for 90 days. And I was able to get myself out of that deep darkness that I was in. And like I said, that was 18 months ago. And within 6 months, I was able to relaunch my company, my coaching company, and start doing little things and start meeting some people. And God was just bringing all these amazing people into my life, like Angel and Sal. And, all of these amazing people helping me lift me up. And they were like, oh, you have helped me so much. But to me, I feel like I got more of the help. They would probably say otherwise. But in December, Angel told me, Tina, you have a story and you need to tell it. And I was like, I don't think I can. And so I told her, I said, hey, what do you think about me writing a gratitude journal? And she was like, Tina, it's amazing. I think you should do it. So in December, I wrote my gratitude journal. It's a 365-day morning and nighttime journal. And every morning you get a scripture and every evening you get a quote. And it's something to inspire you and to help you along the way of those dark times. The power of gratitude and how you can implement it into your life completely changed my life. And so now I'm able to help other entrepreneurs and anybody out there to understand how just implementing this free thing that is such an easy task to add to your morning routine can help you completely change your life. I had already decided that on March 17th, 2020 was the day I was going to do my best-selling campaign. I had my 5 to 6 marketing partners all set up. Hey, I'm going to do your Facebook Live at 10. I'm going to do yours at 12. I'm going to do yours at 2. And I ended up being in San Diego at a photo shoot because I was getting my videos ready for the Connection to Client Blueprint. And so in the middle of my photo shoot, I'm doing this online campaign for my bestseller. And in San Diego, the same day, San Diego went completely on lockdown. I called Angel at 9:00 and she was like, is this the number one best-selling author? I'm like, I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't know what I'm seeing. Is this it? Is this it? And she was like, hold on, let me look it up. And she was like, Tina, you are number one bestseller in new release and in 3 other categories. And I started crying and I was like, oh my God. She's like, you did it. You did it. You did it. So we ended up selling over 500 books. We probably have sold over 500 since then. People are buying 10 and 20 at a time to send and to give out to people. But the main thing that I wanted is for them to understand that power of gratitude and to start implementing gratitude into their life. And the stories that I am getting back are completely heartfelt. I still cry to this day every time I get one back about, Tina, I've been writing in my journal for 30 days, or I've been doing it for 60 days, or I've been doing it since I got it, for the last 90 days. And it has helped people. And that's what I wanted. I wanted them to feel that support and feel that love and feel the energy that gratitude can give to you.
And, I think a lot of our listeners would say that they are grateful people, that they are appreciative, that they already have gratitude.
It's different.
Yeah. So talk to us, because I'm hearing you speak of being in truly and thank you for sharing such a heartfelt story. I think many of our attorneys that we teach, we tell them, tear up your boring bios. Nobody cares about that. They want to hear your personal story. Stories sell, data tells.
Exactly. And that's what I tell a lot of my clients. And it took a while for me to even tell my story because I was like, oh my God, I don't want people to know that I was this weak person, and that I fell into a depression. Somebody told me, Tina, I can't believe you were like that. You're the freaking gratitude specialist. And I'm like, listen, if the gratitude specialist herself can fall into a depression like that, anybody can. But after having 5 huge major life changes out of the 10 that anybody could have, I had 5 in 6-month period of time. I kind of give myself grace for that. But going back to what you said, how, people say that they have gratitude in their life. Yeah, you might have gratitude in your life. You might say, I am grateful. But do you actually say it? Do you actually write it down? Because there's a psychology behind it by writing it down. And by writing 3 new things every single day. And what I always tell is, the universe is going to give you back what you're sending out. And if you're sending out gratitude, you're going to get more things to be grateful for. And you're going to get back tenfold. So if you only told people, if you only wrote down the 3 things that you're grateful for today, and that was the only thing that you got back yesterday, what is the list that could be on there? How many things should you be grateful for today in order to get it back tomorrow? And there's so many things out there. And I always try to have a positive attitude, oh, it's such a nasty day. It's raining. I'm like, oh, what a wonderful day to stay in and cuddle and watch a movie. And they're like, whatever, and I always try to turn it around, because everything, you can turn anything around, just like this pandemic. Angel and I were kind of struggling at first. We're like, oh my gosh, all of our things are starting to cancel. And I was just coming back out into the speaking world, and I had 18 speaking engagements set for the next 6 months. And they were just getting canceled left and right. And I was like, what are we going to do? And so that's when we did our Connect Summit. But I've been on 47 summits, podcast, radio shows, all with big wigs. Last weekend, I spoke on stage with Jack Canfield and Les Brown and Kevin Harrington and Forbes Riley. Us doing the morning show, we were able to, interview Les Brown and all these big wigs. And we wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for this pandemic. I launched my course during this pandemic. We launched the Connection Summit during this pandemic, and we launched the Angel and Tina Morning Show. So it's how you think of it, it's how you receive it, and what you're going to do in the interim. So if you take whatever bad experiences that you have, like with me, I got a divorce. I was physically abused. I was cheated on constantly. My kids all left me. I moved. I lost my job. I didn't have no money. I didn't have no income. I had no friends. I could have taken that and died, or worse, or not worse, because death is probably the worst thing that could happen. But I turned it around, and I was able to make something out of it. And I was able to help so many other people know that their life is worth something, and that all they need to do is add some gratitude to it, and it'll change your world and change the way you think.
Well, yeah. And I hear you saying that it's almost like you have a choice, right? If you give yourself that space and grace that you're speaking of, and just choosing in that moment. Yes, you're not going to, I hear people say all the time, oh, positive thinking or being Pollyanna. I really think it's much deeper than that. You're coming at it from an entrepreneurial, from an adult perspective. To your point, it could have been worse if you kept choosing to hang your hat and your energy and your heart on all these horrific things. Now you let yourself feel it, you let yourself have the experience of it, but in that time when you just say, I have to spin this, I have to choose, because you do have active choice. To your point, at the beginning of this pandemic, my phone was ringing off the hook. And yes, of course, I panicked to some degree of, okay, I do staffing for a living. My business is going to be impacted by that. And but in that moment, you rise above, and my partner and I made the decision that we're just going to serve. And we came from that place of, I could sit on the couch and watch news all day and be panicking with the rest where I have never even watched the news, not one bit, since any of this happened.
We don't watch it either.
I have no idea.
The only thing that I see is on social media. I don't ponder on it. I'm like, oh, wow. We're at this many number of deaths in North Carolina. And I'm like, Jesus, and we haven't even went out. We've gone out a couple times for groceries or, to pick up food or whatever. But to do anything else, we haven't, because we were able to pivot. We were able to pivot our business, and we were able to turn that around. Like you said, we did panic in the beginning for a couple of days, maybe, but that's it. I don't watch the news. The news doesn't come on. I don't watch anything that's negative at all. I make sure that my life, the people that are in my life, the things that I do, the things that I read are all positive generating activities, because you can always fall victim to the negative style. You can fall victim to any circumstance that are happening in your life, and it's up to you to turn that victim into a survivor.
Exactly. And so many people, attorneys that when we were speaking with, they're like laying people off. They're getting rid of it. They're just curled up in a ball in a fetal position. And I have a private Facebook group that we started during this pandemic, and we've been coaching and teaching 300 law firms across the country on how to get online and get virtual. Law firms, by and large, are brick and mortar. They're very much, they have,
because you have to sign things. You have, everything has to be in person.
Witnesses, notaries. I mean, and they've some of them are just crushing it, where their states are open and they're saying, I don't know if we're going back to these in-person meetings. And that will give the client the choice, and the client saying, so many, because I work with elder law attorneys, estate planning attorneys, they say, my clients don't like technology. They won't embrace technology. I'm like, okay, well, you can keep telling yourself that story, or you and your client service coordinator can step up and help them learn technology. And sure enough, they get on the phone with them, they get online time with them, they support them. Like, oh my gosh, they're teaching us a thing or two here.
Exactly. I mean, you have to pivot. If you don't, your business is going to fail. And, if anything that anybody has learned in the last 90 days is to pivot. And regardless if it's plan A to plan B to plan C, you have to do something. And if you sit around watching the news or not learning how to pivot your business or not learning the new technology, your business will die. And so kudos to them, for learning all of that. I think when we first started the Angel and Tina Morning Show, I think they said there was 500,000 people who got Zoom accounts within that week. And we were like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
500,000 new Zoom accounts that first week.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is fascinating.
Right? Because that was the only other way for people to communicate, is through Zoom or through, whatever, instead of being able to come into the office. And now people are able to say, you know what, you can work from home. You don't need to have a daycare or, whatever. And they're able to work from home. And you're like, okay, maybe I can start not having my kids in daycare all day or, having to commute and sit in traffic. And just think of how easier it would be. I mean, I think I'm getting like 3 weeks to the gallon in my car.
Well, easier. I love that one of my mantras is always, does it bring you ease and joy? And if it does not, and that was prior to this pandemic, when my clients would be harping on blah, 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 whatever it was, I'm like, is it heavy or is it light? Is it bringing you ease and joy, or is it bringing you frustration and misery and resentment? And that's always something that I've anchored to. And yesterday afternoon, I had a Zoom coaching call with one of my clients. And as you were speaking, it kind of brought this up because during the pandemic, I've been coaching this law firm for 7 years now. And we've always done it on phone, even though I've done many things on Zoom with many of my clients. But this firm in particular, it just kind of never occurred to us, I guess, to do it on Zoom. And the attorney and I were debriefing yesterday on our Zoom meeting. Well, now he's got all this equipment. He's got a killer microphone because he's been doing his client meetings online too. He's got a whiteboard behind him that he's teaching. When the beginning of the pandemic, he bought one in around April. And then I hop on yesterday, mid-June, and he's got this 3 times bigger than it was, and he's got pictures on there, and he's using graphics to counsel his clients, and is really fascinating because through our conversation, one of the things that he said is that you just need to step up to the mic. Of course, I had imposter syndrome. Of course, it was fearful.
But who doesn't?
Right.
Who doesn't have it? And there's always that one time that you're like, I'm not good enough for all these people. There's no way. They've been doing this for so long. They make so much more money. They are doing this, or they know this person. But just like you said before, facts tell, stories sell, facts tell. People don't care what you're selling or what you're doing. They care about the story and how they're going to relate to you.
And your energy and how you show up. But it's interesting. I still have my notes here sitting on my desk after our coaching call last night. And I'm looking at it, and it really ties in beautifully with what you said. There's a few things that he said to me. I learned how to think on my feet, and I learned how to just show up as me. He said, he goes, the interesting thing, prior to this pandemic, I would go from asleep to eyes open and go to sheer terror about what's on my calendar, what I haven't delivered to my clients, about
what needs to be done.
Needs to be done. He said, and in the middle of this pandemic, I said to him, you've got to claim back your mornings. You've got to get back your power. You must get part of the 5 a.m. Club. And there's a fantastic book out there called The 5 a.m. Club, and talking about the common denominator of peak performers, of high athletes, of high, Tony Robbins-esque entrepreneurs is they all have the breakfast of champions. And this attorney's, he's a runner. He loves his mornings. So yesterday he said to me, the thing I learned during this pandemic, nothing is natural. It's all experiential. And when he said that, I was like, all right, wait a minute. I'm going to interview you. So I'm interviewing him next week on my podcast, because I said, that's beautiful. I want you to talk to us about that experience. And he used the word, Tina, at the end of our call. He just said, I am so completely grateful for this experience, because I truly, the term that he would always say to me, I'm just operating on hair on fire. That's how he lived his life. Yeah.
Well, being an attorney, I mean, think of the struggle that they have to do too, and he probably did have that kind of morning, right? Eyes open and immediately fear. I too am new to the 5 a.m. club. But I get up between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, and I have a whole hour routine that I don't even get out of bed for about an hour, because I do, my meditation and my breathing exercise and my visualization, and I listen to Bob Proctor, and all of the things that I do. I write in my gratitude journal before my feet even hit the ground, and I do all of that before 6 o'clock in the morning.
I love it.
And I am not, or I was not, a morning person.
Oh, good reframe. Great reframe. Good catch.
Right? I was not a morning person, and I am a morning person now. I do go to bed between 9 and 10 o'clock in the night, but or I used to go to bed between 12 and 1, but I get so much done. I do get so much more done. And now I teach my clients to have a morning routine, and how important it is to utilize that and to implement that into your daily life, and to implement that gratitude in there as well. And there's the whole list of just like the 5 a.m. club. Yeah. Who is it? Robin Sharma, I think his name is.
Yes.
Yeah. He says that you have to have that daily routine, and only 20% of entrepreneurs do that. But those 20% are the ones that are making 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures. Like the Tony Robbins, the Bob Proctors, those people are like, yes, I don't get up at 9 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and this is how I start my day. I do this. And so if they do it, I'm going to be like, whatever they're doing, I'm going to be that imposter too. And I'm going to do whatever they're doing. If they're going to make 7, 8, 9 figures, that's what I want to do. I'm going to follow the people who are getting it done.
Absolutely. It's interesting to hear you say that your process and how you got to a place of gratitude, and how gratitude, truly saved your life and your business and every moving piece of it. Mm-hmm. And, it's one thing to talk in your head and be grateful and walk around and say, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. But writing and putting pen to paper, and, attorneys love things in writing. They practice it, they support it, they value it. And it's more than just, CYA, so to speak. But Harvard Business had a study about the difference between people that make $500,000 a year and $1 million a year. And they tracked it and studied it and analyzed it. And the only difference they could find was that the difference of people that put pen to paper and wrote their goals and constantly were writing in their journals and reflecting. And that was the only, was not. And so often business owners and humans, they're all about, give me the strategy, give me the process. And,
they're putting excuses on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, he just does that because he was born with a silver spoon, and he only has that because he did this, and he only has that because he has a master's degree. Most of the 7 and 8, 9-figure earned millionaires, they don't have degrees. They don't need them. They found the formula. And the formula is to do what the other people are doing, to get up early, to bring positivity in your life, to put that paper to use and put your pen to paper and write those goals down. Have those goals in front of you all the time. Read your I am statements every single day, and positive I am statements, ones that you're acting like they're already existing. And writing in your journal, writing in your gratitude journal. And if those things are going to help you become a millionaire, why not? Because all of those things are free.
Yeah. And
you don't have to pay nobody anything for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that space, it's the time, and it's not even just about the money. So often I will hear from entrepreneurs more and more and more, especially since this pandemic. I'm still paying my bills, still able to pay my employees. Yes, I have some that said, this has been the best quarter in the history of my business. And I'll say, why? Why do you think that is?
How?
How is that possible? Who is, and this is the common things I'm hearing from people, that I really needed to be more intentional with my time, especially if I was working from home and co-parenting. My wife would work in the morning, I'd work in the afternoon, what have you. I realized how much time I wasted. I realized how I took so much for granted. I realized when I was, the confidence that came from, holy cow, like I'm doing a presentation on Zoom and, impacting, I have people from California to Florida to Alaska to Hawaii, what have you. So many, because they would typically do a workshop just in their marketplace. But now their clients in their marketplace are inviting their kids in New Zealand and what have you, and saying, hey, can they come to your presentation?
And when they do that, they're getting a little inside who they are, right? Because now they're opening up their life to their the camera to their life, right? Oh, look at their living room, and look at their kid just running by the back, like you actually see people in their environment. You see people in their living rooms, in their kitchens, in their offices, with the kids running in the background or the dogs barking in the background. And you start to relate to these people, and they're not just the lawyer, they're not just the mom, they're not just the whatever. They are actually people now, they're just like us. And that's how Angel and I, with the Connect Summit, we were able to get all of those people to come to our Connect Summit when most of those people probably would never have been able to come to an event because of daycare issues or flying or, whatever it is. We had so many more people able to attend our virtual summit than ever before.
Wow. And as you're talking about, I'm just closing my eyes and picturing even the visuals of the people that I've been on Zooms with since this pandemic, that to your point, that I would never see them in their home environment, in their office environment. And yesterday I had an attorney that scheduled a Zoom with me. And it's like, oh my goodness, I didn't have time to get to the office. I do have an office and I typically like to go there for many of my Zooms. And I hop on and I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't get time to go to the office. I've been back to back this morning and I'm going to go to yoga and then go to my office. And I was in my yoga clothes and she said to me, attorney in New Jersey, very, very successful family law attorney. And she said, oh my goodness. She goes, I love that. She goes, my second job that I have, I actually own a Pilates and a yoga studio. And I'm actually a yoga and Pilates teacher.
And you would have never known that.
You're an attorney. Like by your website, you look like you're badass and you're, right? I was ready to show up in a 3-piece suit, but I just wasn't able to get it together. Had I done that, so I think hearing you say that exactly, like it's teaching you to be human. And I think through this practice of gratitude, what I'm hearing from my attorneys that are really starting to believe this and understand it's not just this woo-woo thing. It's not about being positive. So many people, I think, really chalk up this term, an attitude of gratitude, what have you, is just about you, just how you show up. You just want to be a positive person, but it's so much grander than that. It is about getting it in your belly, in your bones, and embodying.
Yeah.
Truly. It's shifting the way you see the world and the way you show up and what you're expecting. So when you're walking into, and I can say this to you because you have this beautiful, unique ability of combining the gratitude and the heart center coaching with the sales aspect and the client retention and what have you. And you bring that, it's like walking in, like you already have that $1 million in the bank mindset, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've taught myself over the years to have that mindset, and it's not fake it till you make it. It's putting it into your head, like it's already happening, because your brain doesn't know what's going on. Your brain, if you're going to tell yourself that you're a millionaire, you're a freaking millionaire. And your brain's going to start, and body's going to start acting like it. And so when I walk into the room, or when people see me, that's what they think. Nobody knows how much money I'm making. Nobody knows my backstory. Unless I tell them, unless I give them the option of, getting into my life. Just like a couple of years ago, nobody knew that I was going through that, because of course we only put what we want to on Facebook and on social media, right? We're not going to put, oh my gosh, I'm depressed today. I couldn't get out of bed. It's been such a hard day. I haven't slept. I've been in the same clothes for 3 days. And you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to put all of that stuff on Facebook. You're going to put all the happy, stuff on there. And so when people find that out, that, oh, you too, and you've been through that too. And oh my gosh, you're a yoga person. I am too. I actually have a studio. You start relating to people, stop being so fake and start relating to these people, because you guys are all human. We all bleed one color, and it's all red. We all bleed the same color. We're all one race. We're all the human race. And we all can relate to one another.
So fake it till you make it. I love that, because as you started your personal story and you started embracing getting up and just putting pen to paper and playing with and trying on this gratitude. In closing, can you give us one tip for our listeners that are saying, okay, Tina, all right, I got it. Bob Proctor, you're talking about, some really great clients. Look what happened to 176 channels. You've been on 47 podcasts. You have a #1 bestseller. All right, I'm willing to
try it, right?
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about, and just if you could give us one closing tip about, if you're willing to step up and try this on, but not coming at it from a fake it till you make it perspective.
Yeah. So what I challenge everybody, and I challenge your listeners as well, is to do it for 90 days. Write in your gratitude journal. It doesn't have to be mine. Get a journal from TJ Maxx or, from Office Depot. Get a composition book, whatever it is. Write gratitude journal on the front of it, and there you go. That's your gratitude journal. But do 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, and write 3 new things that you are grateful for every morning and every evening. And you're going to find that more and more things come to you every single day. And it don't have to be big things. Like, there was a time where, I'm grateful for my bed, that I have a nice warm bed, and that I have these fluffy pillows, and that I have these pink furry pillows on my bed, because it helps me remember that I'm a girl. I mean, and that's nothing. Those are little tiny things to be grateful for. So, write 3 new things every morning and every night, 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes at nighttime, and do it for 90 days straight. Don't skip one day, 90 days. And then email me or Facebook request me and send me a message and tell me how your life has changed. I guarantee you, your life will change if you do it for 90 days without stopping every morning and every evening, 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. That's 10 minutes a day. Everybody has 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
universe will bring you more things to be grateful for than you can ever possibly imagine.
Amen. I mean, I can attest to this. It's something that I've spoke about so often on my podcast and
you're getting your journal. I'm actually sending you one.
Oh, great. Thank you. I can't wait to receive it.
Yeah. The only thing that I'm getting is, oh my God, it's too pretty to write in. I'm like, you better write in that.
Thank you for saying that, because attorneys are so funny. They will not. I'll be at conferences and they'll get their workbooks and they'll get their worksheets and we'll be doing. It's so funny because the speakers will always say, "You can write in it. Like, get your pen out. We can email you new copies."
But it's so pretty. Yeah, right. And it is pretty because I'm a girl, and I have three boys, and so I have to be a little girly. I tend to female audiences, and so I have to have a little girly in me. But so it is a very pretty journal. But they're like, I don't want to write in it. It's so pretty, and I'm like, you gotta write in that journal.
Yes. So 90 days, 90 listeners. Here's the deal. I highly recommend you take Tina up on this offer and email her and just share. So when you're listening to this podcast, pick up your smartphone and put in your calendar, schedule an appointment from 90 days from now and put in there, email Tina and Molly. I want to hear from you too. So email me as well and put in the subject line, what has occurred for me, what the universe has
Or 90-day gratitude challenge.
Yes. Yeah. And then go ahead. This is what I do. I'll just give you some drive-by tips that work for me. I put in my calendar every morning during my 5 a.m. And then again in the evening, just do my gratitude. So it pops up like a 10-minute appointment. I know you all, you're super rigid. You're very structured, just like me. And you put it in your calendar. If it's in your calendar, I've heard from attorneys for the past 20 plus years that if it's in my calendar, it will get done. So put a reoccurring appointment every morning and then a reoccurring appointment every evening for you to do this. And then a 90-day appointment, 15-minute appointment to email Tina and Molly and say, here's what happened. Here's what occurred.
Molly, I knew I loved you when I met you because I do the same thing. I have, I do 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at nighttime gratitude journal. Even though I know my hour morning routine, it's still in my calendar every day. Even though I know my nightly routine, it's in my calendar every day.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but me, I'm an 8 follow through. So there's nothing greater satisfaction that I get from crossing something off my list and or being able to delete or complete something in my calendar. So even if I'm like, I'm like, I can't even lie to myself and delete this. Like, I need to stop right now and do this.
I'm a to-do list person too. And I write my to-do list. And of course, I have a whole piece of paper and of course I have to fill the whole piece of paper up.
Yes.
But I love to cross that. Okay, that's done. Okay, that's done. Oh, I have this more. Oh, it's 9:00 at night. Okay, I can still get this done. Let me get this done real quick because I want to cross this off.
Yes.
It is the most satisfaction.
I love that. Well, Tina, thank you so much for being our guest today. I'm going to put in the show notes for all of our listeners how they can get in contact with you, join your blog, see the different speaking events that you're having, order your gratitude journal. I highly recommend it. I cannot wait to receive mine. And you can go to thegratitudespecialist.com. On there, you can also have the social channels and all the places to connect with Tina, see all of her workshops and her event calendar, her client blueprint, learn more about that. And we absolutely are going to have you back to hear about your client
retention.
Yes.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing.
Yes.
And it's funny. People go, I don't understand why your company is called the Gratitude Specialist, but I tie it all around. when you hear how I retain my clients.
Oh, great. Yes, we absolutely will have you back because I know that is a topic that many, many people are constantly on the search for of how to really bring in that client retention and go get the connection to client blueprint and watch her videos on that.
Yeah.
We're so grateful for you to be here. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I hope you guys all have an attitude of gratitude every single day.
Okay, this has been another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions. Until next time, may you go out and I love that, have an attitude of gratitude.